And then again, rotating and turning back. And if you're joining me, good morning, welcome to you guys that have come. And then once again, turn it, rotate that palm so it's back. And I have just started my recording. If you're watching the recording, do this on the other side because I did that before I started recording. All right. And then bring that hand back up. And again, hand through center, over to the side. Just continuing, take a little movement to stretch. And then let's just bring that head to center and lower that chin to your chest. So lowering that chin to your chest and then taking the hands back behind you, the fingers walking back behind. So just taking the shoulders and pushing them back and down a little bit. The fingers on the ground, palms down. And then here too, again, we're just going to rotate and turn the palms up. So now the tops of the hands are resting, keeping that chin forward. Again, just a little bit different stretch through the neck. And then again, fingers are down, rotating those palms down. And then rotating those palms up. And then just bringing those hands back in. You can lift that head up. You can open up the eyes if they're not open. Take those hands down beside you. Nice deep breath, inhale and exhale, folding forward. Seated forward fold, head, chest, and body coming forward. You've got any blankets underneath. You might want to move those. You can keep them if you'd like. Whatever works. You can keep them when you fold. But when we extend those legs, you might want to get them out from underneath you. And just hold it here. Knees opening up out to the side, back opening as we bring that body forward. Keep breathing. And then from here, nice deep breath, inhale. Let's bring ourselves all the way up. And let's take a look at the way those legs are crossed. If you're in a half lotus or lotus, you would have one foot versus the other. If you're just cross-legged, we're going to cross the other way. So if you're in a half lotus or a lotus, the other foot would be on top first and vice versa. So inhaling those arms up and exhale and folding forward. So again, just changing those legs, a little bit different, feeling those hips perhaps. With one opposite leg cross in front, maybe feeling a little bit more awkward as this might be the way that we're not used to crossing our legs. And from here again, a nice deep breath, head up, tight core. Let's go ahead and walk ourselves all the way up together. And let's take those legs into bound angles. Bring those feet together and you can hold on to the feet, the ankles, and use those elbows, or if you've got good flexibility, you can just let those arms come forward, because all we're going to do is we're going to hinge forward, fold forward from those hips. Again, you can reach those arms out if you've got good flexibility in those inner thighs and those hips. If not, again, you can use the elbows to help push out. And just breathe right here. One more nice deep breath, inhale, and then bring ourselves up. And let's just extend those legs. So let's extend all the way. Inhale the arms up, exhale, folding over those legs. So just coming to a seated forward fold, just a different lower body position. Hold here. Just coming, folding, holding. And one more nice deep breath. And then from here, inhale, nice tight core, head up, all of that comes up together. All right, let's come up onto our hands and our knees. And we're just gonna come here for a second. Before we come into, and we're gonna take a couple cat-cows, bring that chin in towards your chest, round that back, and then reverse that curl, lift that tailbone up behind you. So come through cat, come through cow, inhale, exhale, round, reverse. One more time each way. Alrighty, and then from here, we're going to take those knees a little bit wider. We're going to take the knee and the hip and slightly turn it out. And we're going to turn that other hip out, and we're just going to bring ourselves down onto our forearms. So kind of like our feet or legs are in our position for our child's pose, but we're not coming all the way back into that child's pose. We're trying to tap into those hips a little bit. Knees out nice and wide, feet together, come down onto the forearms, feet to spread them a little further, getting those inner thighs to stretch. Hip flexor. And then from here, we're going to come back up onto our hands. And then from here, we're going to give me a couple cat cows. So just a little bit different stretch in that spine, cat cow with those knees nice and wide. One more time each way, reach it in, tuck the tailbone, and reverse. And now scoop those hands forward and sit back into a child's pose. So, but again, we're nice and wide. Those knees are super wide in that child's pose. Getting a little bit more stretch inside of the legs. One more breath. And then from here, go ahead and lift that head up. Scoop those hands in. Bring those knees back to our normal position and come into your downward facing dog. Lift those hips, curl those toes, and push back into those heels. Look at that chest pushing away from the arms. Come into your down dog. Do whatever you need to, walk it out. That head too, if you need to, shake it out, do some yeses and some nos. And just settle into a down dog when you're ready. Take a couple breaths right here. And then look towards those hands, walk those feet up towards those hands to a standing forward fold. Head, chest, and body coming towards those legs, lengthen those hamstrings, draw it all together. And here too, if it feels good, you can walk it out. Over here, inhale to a flat back. Take that gaze slightly forward, push those hamstrings back, draw the crown of the head forward. And then exhale, release. Inhale, arms up to the side, head up, chest leads, nice flat back. Up we come, all the way up to standing. And bringing the hands up, down and around. And then from here, just taking those feet about hip distance apart. Inhale, bringing the arms up, and exhale and sit back into chair. So coming into our chair pose, arms are extended out in front, up overhead. Wherever they'll go, bending into those knees, body weight back on our heels. Coming into our chair. Sit back, holding it here. Sit a little deeper if you can. A little further back, keeping that chest lifted, keeping that head up. Take one more breath, and then release to a forward fold. Into a forward fold. Hold it here for a moment. And then from here, take those hands, place them down, walk or jump into a plank. Down here, nice and strong, belly pulled in tight, hands underneath the shoulders, slowly chaturanga, lower down, lift up to your up dog. And then make your way to your down dog. Take a couple breaths in your down dog, breathe right here. And then looking towards those hands, walk or jump those feet up to those hands, to a standing forward fold. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, release. Inhale, arms out to the side, head up, chest leads, nice flat back. Up we come to standing, bringing the hands back down and around. And from here, while we're here for just a second, just take a nice big side stretch, reach over to the right, and then reach over to the left. And then bringing it to center. Now we're gonna take our legs a little bit wider as we come down into a full squat. So it depends on how wide you need your legs. If you can keep them a little narrower, great, but you're probably gonna have those toes and knees turned out unless you can keep those feet about hip distance. So just coming down, coming and bringing yourself into a nice squat here. Bring those hands together if you can in prayer, and you can use those elbows to help separate those knees a little bit. Let's come down into a squat here. Get comfortable for a second here. And again, if you can bring the legs closer and keep the feet flat, feel free. And two, if you need to, you can move into one side, And the other. A couple more nice deep breaths. Inhale, exhale here. And then from here, we're going to release those hands, draw those toes forward and come into a wide-legged forward fold. So now taking that stretch back into the back of the legs, into those hamstrings. Just come into a wide fold, hold it here. You need to readjust those feet for their position, feel free. And then from here, inhale to a flat back. Just take that head up halfway, take that gaze forward. Exhale, release. And from here, we're just going to pivot to the side, to the right, or the left, doesn't matter which side. So we're just going to step back into a plank. So as we come back into that plank, pull that belly in nice and tight. And then from here, slowly chaturanga, lower down. Remember too, you can always chaturanga from those knees if you need to. Slowly lower yourself down. Coming up to your up dog. And when you're ready, to your down dog. Come back into our down dog, hold it here for a moment, take a few breaths, regroup. And then from here, we're gonna lift that right leg up behind us, nice and high. And then bend that knee, swing it forward. Just in between the hands is where we're aiming to get it. If it doesn't get there, pick it up, move it. And then we're gonna come down onto that back into a low lunge. And we're gonna lift ourselves up into that low lunge. Back toe can either be tucked or untucked, whatever's going to give you the best stability. As we lift that chest up, those arms, reach high. Take a look. Should still be able to see the tip of the toes as we look out over without moving that head. That knee, just want to make sure that that knee is behind the ankle or right on top. So come here, reach. Reach long with those arms. Tuck that left hip under. And making here, just take another breath here. And then taking that left hand back to that heel, if you can get to it. If you can't get to the heel, you can go to the calf, or you can just take that hand at that hip. But if you can, take that hand back to that heel, tucking that left hip under, pushing that left hip forward. You can look anywhere it's comfortable, depending on that neck stability, down, or you can look up. If you don't have good neck stability, keep it neutral. One more breath. With a nice deep inhale, lift ourselves back up, coming up, back forward. And then from here, bringing those hands down on the inside of that right leg, walking down onto those forearms and taking that left hip now. That left hip's come forward. If you want more of a stretch through that left hip, you can extend and lift that knee, a little more intense there. Or you can just keep that knee down, walk those hands down, come to the forearms, come down, bring the forehead down. Taking a stretch to that left now as well as that right hip. Both hips feeling some stretches, holding it here. One more nice deep breath. And then from here, let's go ahead and bring ourselves up. And then let's come up into a high lunge. So just lift yourself up to your high lunge. Just momentarily, one more breath. And then drop onto the inside of that left foot. Open up the hips, open up the arms to warrior two. So coming into our warrior two. Now taking that left hip, opening it up, getting a little stretch. And into that front knee. So making sure those toes are there. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. One more breath. And then from here, cartwheeling those hands down beside that right foot. Send that right leg back behind you, back into your down dog splits. And then from here, angle forward to a three-legged plank. Come and hold. One more breath. And then slowly lower down. Lift up to your up dog. And when you're ready, to your down dog. So coming back into that down facing dog. Here's your break. So if you need to come to a child's pose, feel free to modify. So take a break, If your down dog's not working for you, hold it here. Keep breathing. All about yoga today, Kitty Cat. Diego. This is Diego. Tiger's too busy sleeping to come visit. All right, left leg lifts up behind you now to your down dog splits. Remember to start here by bending that knee, swing it forward. If it didn't get there, just pick it up, move it, or wiggle those toes forward, down to the back knee to your low lunge. Lift yourself up, tuck that right hip under, push it forward. Holding it here. Really trying to get yourself to a place where you're feeling a stretch through that right hip, okay? Because you can't just come to a low lunge. You can just set that foot there that's right underneath that knee and just come for a little bit of stability. But if you'd like to get that right hip to stretch a little more, is you take that leg a little further out and tuck that hip. That's what's going to give you a little bit more of a stretch. One more nice deep breath right here. And then again, as we did before, if you can, take that right hand back to that right heel, tucking that right hip under, taking that left arm up and back. And again, now we're taking the focus really into that right hip. If you can't get that right hand to the heel, you can put it on the calf. You can even take the hand to the hip or the buttocks. Just hold it here, keep breathing. One more breath. And from here, we're going to bring that arm, release it up, and release those hands forward. So again here, now taking a little more stretch too into that left inner thigh, hip, groin area, hip flexor. Walk the arms down. Again, if you want to make it more intense, you can curl that right toe and you can lift that right leg. Really up to you. Lizard coming in, finding it, whatever works for you. Keep breathing. Remember, if anything ever feels super intense, super tight, super crazy, back out, breathe, come back in as you can. All right, one more nice breath. From here, walking those hands back in and just lift yourself up to your high lunge. Take the arms up with you, feel that chest up. Come into your high lunge. Just one more breath. And then to your warrior two, drop onto the inside of the back foot, open up the hips, open up the arms, and come into that warrior two. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. Gaze out over those fingertips. If that neck is not an issue, if it is, anywhere that works. Take a couple more nice deep breaths right here. Take that right hip and try and open it up now, stretching a little bit different way. Perfect, one more nice deep breath. And then from here, cartwheel those hands down beside you and take that left leg back, set that foot, take it forward to that one-legged plank, come and hold. Belly in, hold tight, one more breath. And then from here, slowly release down, up dog, to your down dog. And with that down dog, pushing that body weight back into our heels, chest away from the arms. Come here, hold, take a few breaths. We're going to look towards those hands, walk or jump those feet up. If you want to jump, remember you bend the knees, lift the hips, lift the feet, lift the legs forward as lightly as you can land, and come into that forward fold. Keep breathing. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, release. Inhale, arms up. Head up, chest leads, nice flat back. Up, up, up. We come to standing and bring the hands down around. Right. And next up, we'll be making ourselves our way into a figure 4 tree. So instead, unless you need that stability, you can take a foot, but if you can, we're gonna cross that right leg over the left. And as you cross it over, try to cross, avoiding again that knee joint. So you can cross below if you need to make a lower figure 4. If not, bring it above the knee. If you need to pick it up, move it. If you need help with balance, get something to hold on to. But again, trying to come into a little bit different tree pose here, a figure 4. So we've got that knee out to the side, just crossed over, making that figure 4. And for those of you who have always wondered where that 4 is, there it is. You can see that 4. Depending on how you make your 4s. If you make your 4 like that, you don't see it, but if you are a traditional 4 person, this is where it comes from. So just trying to find some stability, find some balance, close your eyes if needed. Just come and hold. And again, if you need to modify, you can let that foot go below the knee. You can even let that foot go down to the toe to the ground instead of out to the side and still come to that 4. So whatever works. Take something, hold here. One more breath. And then as we release that leg, we are just going to cross it over. So continue that cross, placing that right foot beside the left, making sure we've got some good stability, got both feet planted firmly on the ground. As we're just going to fold forward. Inhale up, exhale, folding forward. So again, right leg crossed over the left. And we're going to walk that upper body over to the right if you can. And we stretch to the outside of the left leg. Or the leg that's behind, whatever leg's behind is the leg that should reach down a little bit from the outside of the knee to the outside of the hip. And we're going to walk those hands back to center. We're going to inhale to a flat back. All we're doing with that flat back, you can take the hands to the shins, you keep the hands down, is getting that head up halfway so a little bit of blood flow comes back before we stand up. So we don't get dizzy. All right, release, inhale, arms out, chest up we come, back up to standing. Once you come forward, release, uncross, shake it out, do whatever you need to. Just fix whatever's needed as we get ready for the other side. And again, if you need help with balance, don't be afraid to get close to something you can hold on to, or even if you're at a wall, something you can lean back into if you need to. So again, cross it over. Find that figure 4 tree. Keep those hands at our heart center. If you want to experiment, move the arms around for more balance, go for it. But again, remember, if you can't get it up above the knee, you can always go below. You can always use that kickstand with that toe. If it's needed, it works. Try and stand up nice and tall. If you need extra challenge, the easiest thing ever to do is close your eyes. Just give me 2 more nice deep breaths. And when you release that leg and cross it over, make sure you've got both feet planted firmly on the ground. So we may inhale up, exhale, fold forward. And now taking that stretch to the outside of the right leg, walk the hands over a little bit to the left. Outside of the right knee to the outside of the right hip, where that big band of muscles are. Trying to stretch that. And then walk the hands back to center. Try to keep those legs long if possible. If you can't get the hands to the ground, you can keep them on the legs. If you can't keep it down, it's okay to bend the knees a little bit to get the hands down. And lengthen as best as you can. And then from here, inhale to that flat back. Exhale, release, inhale, head up, chest leads, nice flat back, up, up, up. We come all the way up to standing, bring the hands back down, look around, and then we're gonna uncross those legs. All right, give it a shake, whatever you need to do. And then next up, as we make our way down to the ground, nice deep breath, inhale up, exhale, fold forward. So now just our normal forward fold. Feeling the stretch go to the back of the legs versus when that leg was crossed over, it was more on the outside. But you might have been feeling it in the back of the legs when we had the legs crossed. Oh, just a little bit different. And then from here, place those hands down, walk or jump into a plank. Nice and strong here. She's just going to hold it here for a couple breaths, pull that belly in. Remember, if you need to ever modify your plank, you can always come to your knees. But if you can, come and hold. Belly in tight, hold, hold, hold. And then from here, slowly, chaturanga, your up dog, and then to your down dog. Into that down dog, take a couple breaths right here. And next step, we're going to be making our way into pigeon. You can always do a reclining pigeon if you need to modify where you're lying on your back and you do your figure 4 on your back side. If this is too intense, but you can lift the right leg up behind you. Bend that right knee goes towards the right wrist, and the right foot goes towards the left wrist. Before we make our way all the way down, we're going to come up here. You need to readjust that leg. And again, the right knee at the wrist, and then if you can get the foot at the left wrist, great. If not, it might be tucked under depending, but remember, keep those hips pointed forward. If you can, reach back, grab that ankle, stretching out the front of the left leg while we're here. Pull that heel in, and sometimes you're pulling that heel in, we're pushing that ankle into the palm of the hand, opening and drawing that leg away. Maybe feel a little stretch in that left shoulder. Keep the right hand there to balance if you need, or if you can, wrap that and bring that right hand back and wrap that left foot into the nook of that left arm. Feel free. All right, one more breath. Now we're going to release that left leg. We're going to walk ourselves down onto the forearms, onto the forehead. Whatever works. And just come into your pigeon and just hold it here for a bit of time. Take a nice deep breath, inhale, exhale. If you're not feeling any stretches or anything going on in that right leg, maybe you're a little more flexible than you knew, and maybe you need to reposition that right leg. Again, the ideal position of that right leg is at a 45-degree angle. That's probably 20, 25. It's not flexible. If you had it, you would just scoot that right foot out from underneath the body and more towards that foot being directly out across from that knee if you can. Just stay here, remain here for your pigeon. Some stretching. And that right hip, maybe in that left hip, if you have your left leg back. Lots of places you might feel that stretch in that right leg. Inside, backside, underside. Might feel high, might feel low. There are lots of different places. Just take a few more deep breaths right here. Pigeon. And from here, slowly lift that head up. Walk those hands back in. And before we go anywhere, just tip those fingers and lift that chest. So staying here for one more breath, just lifting up. And then you can release. And then placing those hands down, nice wide fingers, nice strong base. Curl that left toe, and then bring that right leg back behind you. Bend that knee, let that heel drop over to the left. So now just opening up that hip the other way. One more breath. Release that foot back down to your down dog. Come forward to your plank, belly in. Slowly, chaturanga, release to your up dog. And then coming to your down dog. And holding it here again. Remember, if you need to, child's pose, you can come there. If you need to come there to take a rest, take a moment before we go to the other side. And then lifting your left leg up behind you, nice and high. into those down dog splits. Bend that knee, left knee towards that left wrist, left foot towards the right wrist. And again, before we make our way down, first get yourself situated. If you need to, again, move that leg forward and underneath, go for it. If you can, reach back, grab that ankle into the palm of the hand, and push that ankle and that heel away. Feeling now an opening through the front of the right leg. And then release that leg. And then again, walk yourself down. Also too, if you need a pillow for that forehead to rest on, grab something you can rest that forehead on. Come down, settle into your pigeon, hold it here. Try and deepen and lengthen each breath as you remain here a little bit longer. With the feeling, intensity that pigeon can present. Send that breath to those areas where you might be feeling that intensity. And send that breath with a little bit of release. Just 2 more nice deep breaths right here. Inhale, exhale. Nice and slowly lift that head up. And again, before we come out, just take those hands underneath those shoulders, clip those fingers, and just lift that chest. Here, take those hands down. Remember, spread those fingers nice and wide. Nice strong base here. Curl that toes and that left leg back behind you. Bend that left knee. Let that left knee drop over to the side. Open up through the hip, going the opposite direction. One more breath. And just release that foot down. Come forward to your plank. Pull that belly in nice and tight. Hold it here. Take a couple breaths right here. Hands underneath the shoulders, nice strong core, hold. One more breath. And then from here, one more time, slowly, chaturanga, release to your up dog. And when you're ready, to your down dog. Coming into your down dog, pushing the body weight back into those heels, chest away from the arms. One last time, hold your down dog. Breathe. From here, go ahead, come to your knees, feet together, sit back in your child's pose. So extend those arms, sit back. Going into our normal child pose. Earlier we came into a super wide child pose. We're just feeling when we have those knees just a little bit more than hip distance apart, where we don't feel the intensity on the hips. We just feel ourselves sinking back, sitting back onto those heels. A couple more deep breaths right here. And then from here, bring those hands back right beside your head very slowly. Just gonna lift that head up and bring ourselves up. And from here, we're going to be bringing ourselves onto our backside. So however you'd like to get there, just going to slowly lower ourselves down, release yourself, make sure you have some room to lie all the way back. So roll yourself down. All right, and then from here, bring the right hand to the chest, flex the foot, give that hip a little bit of a stretch. Hips got some work today, stretching and opening. And then right hand keeps a hold of that. Take the arm out to the side and just let the right knee drop over to the right. So supporting that leg and feeling a stretch to the inner part of the inner thigh, inner hip, groin area. And bring the hands to center, change the hand, left hand grabs it, right arm goes out to the side, and we just pull it over to the left somewhere. So now feeling the stretch to the back side. And then bring it back to center, and then bring that left knee in, flex the foot, hug it in, push, just bring it all the way in. Keep that foot flexed to help protect that knee. And then again, left hand holds it. Let it drop out, open up to a full stretch, feel a little release. And then from here, switch hands. And again. And then bring it back to center. And then take it in. Circles. That low back release. Now just loosely holding onto those shins and putting those hands on the knees as drivers, circles one way and circles the other way. Just now no pressure on those hips, just trying to release that low back a little bit. And maybe even side to side. All right, whenever you're ready, we're making our way into our final posture, Flushasana, traditional corpse pose. Legs extended, arms out by the side, palms up. Coming wherever works for you, taking a few minutes to close those eyes. Bring ourselves back into that space that we created in our bodies, that space we created in our minds. And just continue to breathe. Keep those eyes closed. And slowly bringing some awareness back into that body and that mind, those fingers, those toes, hands, feet, arms, legs, even that head, side to side or circles. I'm just going to bring a little bit of thought, a little bit of movement to move that body. When you're ready, rolling over onto the side of your choice. Anyone who's pregnant should go to their left. Everybody else can choose a side. Sometimes the questions are complicated and the answers are simple. Sometimes the questions are complicated and the answers are simple. That's a quote from Dr. Seuss. Ready to use that outside arm, bring yourself back up to where we began, and hopefully a little bit more space in that mind and that body as we move forward. Just to remember to, maybe it's just a simple thing that we need to do for ourselves to keep ourselves going in that direction that is needed. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Thanks for coming. Namaste. We'll see you next week. And next week we'll be back to our normal time. Just have to take my son to the dentist here shortly.